Hello, everyone. This is Ken Quigley from Keystroke, and thanks for joining me today. Today's webinar is going to be focused on the recent changes to AMA Select, which I think you'll discover are very significant, as well as really helping educate people on providing kind of a feature breakdown and helping people decide which tier of AMA is right for them. Before we begin, let's get into a few housekeeping issues. We expect this webinar to run about 60 to 75 minutes. Please keep yourself muted throughout the webinar. This is recorded, and we often get people with some background noise, okay, that we'd like to avoid. We'll stop at the end of each section. There's about 5 sections to take questions. Please post your questions in the chat. You'll see a little chat bubble at the top. So this event will be recorded and distributed to everyone that registered. So we'll also, let's see, we'll show you where we keep the recordings, okay, which is right down here, Keystroke training videos. And depending on the subject, they'll be organized down here, okay? Right here is an excellent resource of past AMA webinars that we've done, so we'll be recording this one and placing it here as well, okay? The upcoming events page, just so you guys can stay tuned for future events like this, is right here, okay? And then we also tend to send out a recording of this webinar or each month's webinar in the following webinar newsletter. So please be sure to look for that. And the agenda, as I said, we're going to be covering the changes to the select tier. We're going to be covering the different features in the AMA tiers. What we won't be doing is doing a deep dive on any of the features, because this really isn't a how-to session so much as helping you guys decide which tier is right for you. Okay, so before we get in, let's show a couple of useful resources. I showed you the different training links down here on our homepage. We also have our marketing automation page. If you want to find out how to get there, you just click here, scroll down and click on marketing automation. And this gives you a breakdown of all the different comparative features, okay? And here's a fairly long comparison chart, and you can open up any one of these things and get details of it. We're going to be providing a much more real use case explanation for what all of these means. Some of this is rich with marketing speak that's a little hard to decipher. So you'll, by the end of this, have a much clearer understanding of what each one of these things means. Okay, and let's cover also, why is this important? Okay, I wrote a blog recently on where is it? Understanding the comparative value of AMA versus the competition. A lot of ACT users have gone to well-known services like MailChimp and Constant Contact, thinking that, go with the brand name, it's always safer. Well, for ACT customers, just to kind of give you an apples to apples on the math side, and we're going to cover a lot more than math, but if you've got 5,000 contacts who want to send, and you want to send each contact 2 emails a month, okay, and we're trying to provide just more than one, so it's a fair analysis. You'll spend almost $45 a month, or you'll spend $45 a month with AMA and $124 a month with Constant Contact. That's almost 3 times as much. Those looking to send the same number of emails per month, but to 25,000 contacts, would spend $199 per month with AMA and approximately $350, that's 50% more, with either Constant Contact or MailChimp. And if you're still not convinced, if you had the same send needs, but had a distribution list of 50,000, okay, so double that, you would pay $499 for AMA and have a ton of extra features, not just sends, but all these extra features, and spend $550 a month with Constant Contact and a whopping $750 with MailChimp. So just kind of set the stage there that this is a really compelling value. I encourage you to go through and read this. And then let me just jump into the next section here. But to set the stage for this webinar, I want to explain that prior to April, the select tiers, and I want to just bring this up. Okay, this was a blog that I wrote in March, and basically what I summarized was that basic and the select tiers of AMA were e-marketing, and complete and advanced were marketing automation. And I'm not going to read any of this for you, but that was kind of how I summarized it. And my point was because the select tier here, or the basic, didn't have any of the real automation features that would allow it to call itself marketing automation. Well, as it turned out, ACT took heed of this contrast and actually changed the features of select to make it truly marketing automation. We're going to cover some of those changes today, so that you can understand that pretty much all the paid tiers now can truly call themselves marketing automation. And I'm going to explain now what the feature differences are. So I'm just going to flip over to my ACT here. Now, one of the things I love to do is, because we eat our own dog food, everyone is here today. All the butts in the seats today were delivered by AMA. So I get to show you exactly the campaign that you guys all saw in your inbox. Okay, so here is the campaign. It started on Monday. I was a little concerned about Monday because it was Easter Monday, but I built enough touch points through the week that I thought it would work well. So here's where it started. So here was the Monday at 11, this went out, and this was the first email, okay? Now this first and second email, first email and then the reminder email, this isn't marketing automation. This is drip marketing. So a scheduled email here and another scheduled email. Nothing intelligent about that. This is, like an activity series, okay, where it's all scheduled based on one anchor date. However, one of the things that they changed is they added this little feature called decisions. And what this does is it turns this into response-driven nurture marketing, or to put it differently, outbound workflow. So what is that? So I'm going to click on this because this is the first time this has been available in Select. And I'm just going to kind of give you some warning here that I have the highest tier available. So some of the features I'm going to show you, I'm going to identify which tier they're relevant to. So I'm going to just click on here, and I'm going to click on View Logic. I can't edit the logic because it's already an active campaign. Okay, so you can see here, conditions, clicked email. Okay, click the email. So basically, if they clicked the email on the on the Wednesday, okay, then I triggered a separate email to go out on Thursday morning. Now, why did I do that? Well, the first thing is you'll notice that I said clicked and not open. This is a common confusion point for a lot of people that are relatively new to e-marketing. Opens now are becoming less and less reliable. Back in 2021, and there was many things that contributed to this, but back in 2021, Apple changed their email privacy policy, and they made it easier for people to conceal actions like opens. So clicks are really much more relevant, and most ESPs, email service providers, will tell you that the industry standard for acceptable click-throughs or averages is about 8.74%. So anywhere between 8 and 9%, and that spans across all industries. So I mention that because we're going to be covering some campaigns, and you'll be able to see the actual results. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to mute a couple more people. Okay, so now let's go back. So what I did was I said, okay, if you opened it and I would send you, opened it but did not register, you'll get another email on the morning of, okay? Now, here's where you start to see the differences between AMA and Constant Contact or MailChimp, because MailChimp and Constant Contact really don't have any integration into your CRM, so you can't include things like exclusions. Please don't send out any additional emails to people that have registered for this event. Well, that's something I configured. I clicked on here and I clicked on exclusions, okay? And what I did was I created a group that said, if you've registered for the event, you're going to go into this group and do not send them any further emails. So what that allowed me to do is they were added to a group dynamically, and then from the moment they did that, they didn't get any more pestering emails, okay? Other than what our event management system would send just in terms of reminders, but they weren't sent any more marketing emails. So this decision basically said, if you click through and still hadn't registered, so you've got some interests, but you haven't registered, then I'll send you one final nudge, okay? And this creates the intelligence that Select now has as of April 1st, okay? So this was an important detail because now what you're getting is the ability to create a workflow, have, yes, no branches based on how they engaged with your email, okay? Now, if you're thinking, okay, that's great, glad you showed me this. What's the value? Well, I did the statistics just before this event. This last email generated an extra 16% signups for this event. So this is real stuff. This really, really works. If we can, create little identifiable markets where we can see people that are interested but just haven't made that final step to register, then we can give them that little nudge. But if we do it to everyone, then it's just casting too wide of a net to really be reliable. Okay, plus it also increases your opt-outs if you're just spamming every single one with every single stage. Okay, so this was the big thing that was added to Select to really make it automated. Okay, that's the first thing. Now the second thing, and this was something that people have been asking for quite some time, was List Sync. Okay, now without an actual campaign to kind of understand what List Sync is, it's difficult to visualize. So I've created one that's called Welcome New Customers, and I'll just open this up now. Okay, now what the concept of this is very simple. I've created a group in Act that is just for new customers. I'm not going to bore you with all the dynamic query conditions are, but create date in the last 30 days, ID status, customer, so on and so forth, okay? So anyone that meets all of those conditions dynamically gets added to that group. And the purpose of that is I want those people to always get a welcome email. Well, as you might imagine with a regular email campaign, once you send it, anyone that gets added to that group afterwards is not going to receive that email. Well, that's changed. So with that feature, we've got a new thing called Campaign List Sync, okay? And what this means is, so let's say that I send out the email on Monday, okay? What it's going to do is it's going to check the campaign list every single day at 8 a.m. to check to see if there's any changes. And if there are any changes, those people will then be sent that email and be added part of that ongoing campaign. Now you can either continue it forever, or you can set an end date based on whatever the subject is. Sorry, please keep yourself muted. It will create some feedback as well. Okay, so these two features you can see really change the whole dynamic of just sending out email blasts. Previously, if you sent out an email blast, that was it, okay? And you would just sit there, spray and pray, and hope that you would get some kind of feedback from it. Now you can configure it so that a campaign based on your database criterions and groups will constantly be refreshed based on data that's added to it. As well, when you send out a campaign like I showed you before, you can have people's engagement in the campaign actually change the course of that campaign, okay? Which, as I demonstrated, produced an extra 16% signups on this last day, okay? So that's really, really powerful in terms of how effective this can be. Most marketers will tell you that having that automated component dramatically increases its effectiveness. Today, I can tell you the math is 16%. So the proof is in the pudding there. Now, one of the other things that I made in made my point to ACT in terms of why that was important, is that if you clicked on new campaign, okay, and you clicked on things like sales prospecting, promotional sales, let's even say promoting a webinar, okay, and we're going to say test for demo. Smart tags are just a way of helping you find and organize. So I'm going to just say demo, hit enter, and now I've got a smart tag for this. It's just easier to find and organize. Okay, my list is going to be, let's say, keystroke users, properly spelled. Okay, I've got a bunch of domains. Don't really care about that. Okay, so this was something that I just grabbed right off the menu. Okay, you can see that you got 1, 2, 3, 4 drips. Okay, and let me just reduce the size of it. Just hold down the control key and then you can move it around. Okay, in this case, you've got 2 decisions. So you had over 70, I believe the number is 70 different campaign templates. And the point that I made is all of these were useless to select customers without the ability to leverage the decision features, and they agreed. So now we've got this as part of all 3 paid tiers. So I just want to demonstrate why that was important, because without that, many of the the ready to use campaign templates weren't really available to anyone outside of the top 2 paid tiers. Okay, so let's go into that. Pretty much wraps up the first section, which is the changes. So we're going to go over to AMA AMA Basic and AMA Select, and we're going to cover the common features of each. So basically, with these changes, the 4 tiers of AMA can be divided into 3 categories. The first is general e-marketing, which you see with those drips. Okay. The second is marketing automation with outbound workflow. And outbound workflow is really all about emails, where you can implement decisions and add people to different campaigns, things like that, but just add them to different decision trees of emails. But emails are really the only actions. So that's why it's outbound. Nothing talks back into the database. The third one is marketing automation with inbound CRM workflow. Now I've showed you one of the blogs, the last blog I wrote on understanding the different tiers. Please reference that. That'll give you a better understanding. But as I said before, the comparison charts are great, but they don't mean anything to anyone unless you understand what they're saying, because so many of them are mired in marketing speak. For instance, I don't think many people are going to be transported to their Happy Act place hearing words like social sharing, assets, or progressive profiling, and certainly not without context or knowing what they mean. And they're not going to be making any purchase decisions just based on words. So we're going to be covering what they actually mean. So the first thing is, what is basic? Well, if you're on this call, you're an ACT user. Okay, and if you don't have a paid tier, since 2021, you have access to AMA Basic free of charge. Okay, if you are not using that, give us a call. Let us help you get set up, because that is a free benefit, and much of what you've already seen here outside of the decisions can be done with AMA Basic. So you definitely want to avail yourself of your full subscription benefits. So what is AMA Basic? Well, 2,500 monthly sends, and it includes upgrade options for sends. It doesn't have things like SMS or domain options, but think about the sends. Right now you get 2,500 per month. Okay, but for an extra 180, you can go up to 5,000 per month, an extra 360, 7,500 per month. And for 540, which is only, and I'm talking year, by the way, okay, so 540, which is equal to $45 per month, you can have 10,000 sends per month. Okay, now that is the maximum for basic, but most of the customers that I work with, 10,000 a month is more than adequate for newsletter needs, product alerts, things like that. So certainly understand the value of AMA Basic if you are not using it right now and are a subscriber, that is a subscriber benefit that you should definitely be leveraging, okay? So the other thing is, getting back to the campaign I showed you before, the single and multi-stage drip marketing. So where you can set as many emails as you like, as I described it, like an activity series, where you they're based on well, it's not 100% like an activity series, because the activity series, all the steps are based from the original anchor date, whereas you can set this to go out at a certain time and this to go out 2 days, 2 hours, whatever, after this particular event. So it's a little bit more logical in this way, okay? This is available in basic. If I was to go into here and click on the edit email content, all the features that you see here, everything that you see from us can be built in basic. Okay, so this full publisher here, the drag and drop editor, okay, which provides things like, you know, the previews of desktop, mobile, all these different controls. If you see controls like this and you've ever worked with a CMS for a website like WordPress or Joomla, a lot of these things and controls are going to seem very, very familiar, okay? But it's very, very easy to build, and this particular feature is available across all four tiers, not just the paid tiers, okay? The basic email tracking and metrics. So let's go back here. Okay, I'm going to go to the dashboard here. Okay, so now here you can see all the different results. This is, you might get similar statistics, maybe not broken down quite this way, but we're going to assume, because these are send results, that you can get them with any kind of top tier ESP, but you can see all of your statistics. You can see how many were sent, how many were delivered, what the delivery rate is. Now, remember what I said here. I said the opens, the unique opens 2793 as becoming less and less reliable. I don't look at this anymore, okay? I don't look at the percentage of opens, because there's too many ways of cloaking that. What I care about is this, and this is a really, really low number. Why is it a low number? Because this distribution included a lot of new contacts that we added to the database. I'm just going to mute. Okay, so a lot of, now, if I was to go here and show you what I expect to get, let's go down to our newsletter from earlier this month, which is a fixed distribution. Okay, these are people that I email monthly. Remember, I said 8.74% is what you should expect. You can see here, I've got close to 11%. So this is what I expect in terms of an open for people that you know, our regular customers we engage with on an ongoing basis. So this is the metric that you should be looking for. Now, all of this isn't to kind of flex and say, you know, look how great our click-through response is. It's more to show you the tools that you have at your disposal across all four tiers. Okay, so be sure to be taking advantage of these things so that you can get the proper intel and make the appropriate decisions. What I saw was that my click-through rate, you know, basically fell by 70% when we added all these new contacts. So there's a lot of reputation building we've got ahead of us with about, I think about 4,000 new contacts that we added, okay? So we talked about the statistics, deliverability. Now this is an interesting one. We talked about the deliverability here. If I go to here, just kind of going through our newsletter here. I'll scroll down, and if you've ever made any of these emails, you'll see the standard unsubscribe thing. This is inserted in automatically in every single template, and this simple unsubscribe to all is available for everything, okay, for all four tiers. However, we're often asked, and I had this one lady that actually I've had more than one, where we emailed them out, they unsubscribed because it was a product alert and they didn't care, and it was kind of like cutting with a dull knife. It's like now, you know, I want either all of your emails or none of your emails. Well, she didn't like that product alert, so she opted out, and then she missed a very, very important security notice that came afterwards, and she was mad at us for, you know, allowing her to opt out of everything. Okay, so this is what's available in basic. The moment you move into a paid tier, you get options. I'm going to go to, it's called the Preference Center, where it allows you, and you can see here, allows you to create a multi-tiered opt-out. Okay, so you put in your email, and then what you do is you say unsubscribe to product alerts, and then you create a checkbox in your database and link it to this. Unsubscribe to newsletters, create a checkbox, link it to your database, a checkbox in the database, and then unsubscribe from all, which is there automatically. Okay, and you could put in as many tiers of this as you want. The point of this is when they click on submit, they will then check those boxes in your database, and then you can create dynamic groups that are populated based on who's got those check marks. Why is that important? Well, let's go back to, I'm going to go back to the campaigns. Okay, and I'm going to click on, well, let's just click on anyone. Okay, if I decide to use that exclusion feature that I showed you before, and let's say I'm sending out, I know I'm sending out a newsletter, okay, I can then say newsletter exclusion, add them, and then anyone that has ever opted out using that one checkbox, and then by doing so added themselves to that dynamic group, I would then click on here, they would be put into the exclusion list, and no one who ever selected that checkbox would ever get a newsletter alert or product alert or whatever was the purpose of that. Okay, so that's something where you really get enhanced opt-out functionality with some of the paid tiers. So that's something to be mindful of, because a lot of people literally are not aware of the Preference Center. Okay, now the visual workflow designer, always kind of feel like this is a bit of a pretentious description, but you know, it is fair. So we click on here. This workflow designer, okay, the only thing that is feature gated from one tier to the next is some of the actions. So now we know that Select has everything that you can see on this screen, okay? So the tool itself is the exact same across all tiers, including the unpaid version, okay? So this is what I refer to on that. Basic is limited to emails as action types only. So if I clicked on here and I clicked on, okay, I'd have to do this here. This is an active campaign. I would normally have an option to put in insert action afterwards, in which case it could be another email, okay? But this is already an active campaign, so it's not letting me do it. But if, actually, let me just go here. Insert action after. And then I've got the option to put in another email. You can see here though, when I add the additional steps, I'm seeing all of them available in AMA, okay, to the very, very top tier. This one is what you can get with this one, and end is what is available for basic. And now you've got decision available for select. SMS was always available for Select. It is a paid upgrade, but it is an action after if it's available to you as part of your subscription. Okay, so let's go to something that is also available. I'm going to click here. I'm going to go to new. And remember, this is, I'm going to go into email templates, new template. This library of 170 different templates, okay, is available to all tiers, okay? So if you're a little nervous about starting off, you know, designing something, you'd rather have something mostly finished, you've got 170 different templates that are available by industry, by types, by whichever, and you can kind of go through and cherry pick which ones suit your purposes, which ones suit your business, okay? This is available in all of them. And the last one that I'm going to cover that's available in both Select and Basic, let's go back here, is the marketing calendar. I actually use this a fair bit just to kind of remind myself of what's going on, what we've got going on in our marketing calendar here. Now you'll see up here where it says show non-syncing campaigns. Well, if I have that welcome customer or welcome new customers, it's going to be checking every single day. So by default, it shows me non-syncing campaigns. If I select show me syncing campaigns, it's going to show me that 8 a.m. sync action every single day of the month, and it's going to clutter up my view. So that's why this is always turned off by default. You can select all users. I typically am only concerned about my campaigns because a lot of the users, they'll build test campaigns for either learning or for demo purposes. But now I can see all the different campaigns that I've got going on this month. So there's a fair bit, and this gives me a topical view. I can view it by week, by month, or day, whatever suits my purposes, okay? And that wraps up the differences between all the common features between Basic and Select. So let's go into what is now the AMA Select and Complete. Okay, these are the common features, and these are the two biggest paid tiers, I would say, across all of our customers. So the first thing we talked about is response-driven nurture marketing or outbound workflow. So let's kind of go down here. We'll go back to our campaign. Okay, so the outbound workflow, the actions, as I told you, actually, let's go back here. Keep forgetting, this is already complete, so I can't edit it. Let's go into here. I click on here, insert action afterwards. Now, what I've got here within Select is I've got email, I've got end, and I've got SMS, okay? Under complete, now these are just because all I'm doing is controlling outbound workflow, stuff that's going out of my CRM and is going to all the customers. However, complete, which has inbound workflow, allows me, based on where I am in the workflow, to create actions like calls. Let's see, if I go to insert, I'm going to go to actions here, gives me a better list. Okay, create activity, create opportunity, add to drip, add to group, update contact field. So if they do something in a particular part of the campaign, I can have them actually update a contact field, which can then populate them into a dynamic group. All of these different things, and this, and update contact field are all complete. Okay, add to drip, add to group, and notification, which is just like an email, is select. So this kind of shows you the what you can do in terms of actions. Obviously with Basic, email is the only action that you've got. Okay, now I'm going to show you something that I think is especially cool, but very, very few people use it. And I'm just going to actually go back to my website, and I'm going to show you what it looks like, okay, and why we think it's useful. So I'm going to click on newsletter sign up. Okay, so here's our newsletter sign up page. I don't suppose it's much different than anyone else's. However, what we've got different is, here's the last, year and a half's worth of newsletters. So, back to January 22nd. So if I want people to sign up for the newsletter, it's kind of nice to be able to show them what one of the newsletters looks like. So they can click on here. And here is the full newsletter as people saw it in their inbox. I'm going to click on here. And they can go through and see every single video, everything. And what I can do is I can use these links. All of these links are leveraging what's called the social sharing feature. So let's actually see what that looks like. Okay, I'm going to go back here because it's got to be an active campaign. Okay, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to say, click on this. I'm going to click into this, edit. And I've got this option here that says social sharing. Okay, now, if you have a select tier or higher and you don't see that, please contact us because you just need a small tweak to the security role in your account. I actually, up to a couple of months ago, didn't have it either. It was just a little tweak made at the server level and it's fine. So now I can select this. I can go back. And let's just go to the other screen. And there's the template. Okay, so think about all the different uses that you can have for this. If you've just come out with a new newsletter and you want to include it in your social media, then you can use a service like our Link to Shrink or Bitly or any kind of shortening, URL shortening service and post it in your social media and promote it so people can click through, learn a little bit about your company, your products, your services that way. And basically just create as much social media noise and attention as possible. And this makes it really, really easy. So as you can see, it's pretty much a perfect rendering of what I sent out by the email, okay? Okay, so we've got that. Now let's go to landing pages. Now landing pages, if you see landing pages here, okay, then you know that you've got a paid tier, okay? So I'm gonna click on landing pages. Now everyone kind of gets the concept of a landing page. It's a web form, okay? The point is that you wanna have a web form that feeds into your database. If you have a contact us page that does not feed into your database, then you're basically creating work for yourself each and every single day that someone completes that. Because instead of them being added to your database, you're getting an email where you have to stop everything you're doing, enter that in, create some follow-ups. All of that can be done for you with AMA, okay? So let's go to AMA testing page here. Okay, so it looks kind of familiar, right? So let's go, we'll go to here. Now, the one thing I do want to mention is that decisions were added to campaigns with the select tier. They were not added to landing pages or surveys. So just be mindful of that if you're looking for those kinds of actions available. They're not. So if I click on here, okay, I can see insert action after, and because I have a paid tier, I can see form, decision, and end. With select right now, you'll only see form and end, which basically means you can create multiple different forms in one landing page. Okay, and I'll get into why you would do that later. But now I'm going to click on edit form. Okay, and this is where with this, and again, only available with Select, you can create a landing page that feeds directly into your database, okay? So just kind of reviewing through all of this, you can see questions like name and email, phone numbers, who manages your marketing, and then several other additions, one here. You can preview the page, okay? And this is what it will look like, okay? As I said, this is not a how-to, so I'm not going to show you how to build all of this, but this is one of the features that's really, really nice and available. You can, if you don't like the word register, you can click on customize and change that to submit. Change colors, so on and so forth, change the width of it. You can see what I mean, okay? So the landing pages is a key function, okay? However, all it can do is take the contacts, add them to Act, okay? And then down here, once you've done that, then you can create what's called end actions. Now, this is where I'm going to show you the different options available between the select and complete, okay? Add to event add to group, add to drip, and remove from drip and notification are all available with select. Anything relating to an action, anything relating to changing act, like create activity, create opportunity, update a contact field, that's available in complete. So you can decide, am I fine with the paid tier at $79, or do I want to pay that little extra increment, double my sends, and get all of this added inbound workflow? So what is this going to affect? So what you can do is you can create a landing page where if someone completes it, yes, they're automatically added to a group available in Select, but now you can also create a sales follow-up, including creating opportunities. So now what you're doing is you're creating a connection between marketing and sales that previously would not otherwise exist. If you think that extra functionality to really have marketing engage and enable sales is worth $120 a month, then I think in addition to the extra sends, then this is a terrific tool for you, okay? Okay, and just to kind of show you, I'm going to bring it onto screen here. This is what you would see: add to trip, add to group, notifications, and remove from drip in the select tier. So I just took a screenshot of that. Okay, so got that. And then surveys. Surveys, as I said, I want to be respectful of everyone's times. Surveys are, very, very similar to landing pages. Often will have more forms built into them. But surveys, again, are something that you've got available in Select, but the same kind of extra actions that create inbound CRM workflow are available in Complete only, okay? And I want to kind of zip past that because there's two things I want to cover. One is I'm going to go back to the email templates. Just that surveys and landing pages, I could spend like half a day on each of them, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time because we've got about, I said that this will run between 60 and 75 minutes, and we still have a fair bit to cover. So what I want to do is I've clicked on email templates, and I want to click on new templates. Now, one of the things that you'll see here is WYSIWYG, okay? What you see is what you get. Now, I don't recommend using this unless you have a very explicit reason to do so. Most of the times, you should be using either a pre-made template or start with drag and drop. Why? Because the drag and drop is going to be guaranteed to be responsive. It's going to be guaranteed to be much easier. You've got all of those tools available that you saw down on the right-hand side, okay, with little widgets, the text, the images, the Giphies, you name it. All of those things are available to you, and they are designed to be consumed on any kind of platform, okay? Desktop, tablet, phone, whichever, and they will render accordingly. WYSIWYG is raw HTML, okay? So this has very, very specific purposes, and I'm just gonna go into here, and we're gonna see AMA demo sample. Okay, I'm gonna save all that. So this is pretty straightforward, right? Pretty raw. Now, when this first came out, this is a bit of history for you. When AMA first was introduced as part of ACT, this was considered such an advanced feature, it was only available in the top tier, okay? Then ACT realized that this is a terrific tool for sending out sales emails, sending out Outlook type emails, that they introduced it to the complete tier, okay? However, over time, they also realized that it had a lot of functionality for people working with third-party web designers, where they can provide content for them and import it in there and include it as part of their campaign. So this is the reasons that you would use the advanced HTML editor, which is now available in all 3 paid tiers. Not available in basic, okay, but at all 3 paid tiers. So let's see this in action. So one, we're going to use it for sending out basic emails. The second biggest thing, as I said, is for importing. So I'm going to click on here. I'm going to click on import. I'm going to select file. I'm going to go over to one of my old marketing groups, newsletters, and I'm going to say newsletter HTML. So this was a sample of something that one of our old subcontractors made, okay? And it's just taking a moment to import. One of our old subcontractors made, and then I was able to import in. So waiting, there we are. Okay, so now he developed this using normal, website development tools, and he sent me the HTML file, and I have now imported this in. A lot of the text will already have the hyperlinks already embedded, and I've created this. I might, update the unsubscribe, remove anything else that, has broken links. But this is what the WYSIWYG really provided the capabilities of, okay? And let's just loop back. Like this is, again, these are tools that are available for $79 a month, okay, and provide you tons of flexibility, and compare that price to some of the third-party offerings that we discussed at the very beginning, okay? Now, so that is it on the HTML editor. And the last thing I wanted to talk about within Select and Complete is the assets, okay? So assets you've got up here. If you see this, you know that this is available here. So here is all of the assets that we've had in the past. I've got this sample here, AMA April Billy. I'm going to click on edit. Okay, so what is an asset? Before we jump any further, but asset is basically something where you can control the consumption or the distribution of digital assets that you have, whether they're videos, whether they're PDFs, whether they're web pages, things like that. So the whole point of this is to kind of dangle it out there as, hold on one second. Yeah, actually, let me just correct this. I said this was available. This is only available in Complete. So let me just make that, this is not available in Select. So if you see assets up here, that means that you've got Complete. So sorry, just correcting myself here. Okay, so now let's see what this looks like. So I've got this. This is a YouTube video. Why do I want to control this? Why do I want to have this as an asset? Because I want to promote this. And as I'm promoting it, I want people to sign up using a web form, okay, so that I can harvest more and more marketing contacts. So I'm just going to click on this as an example. Okay, and I believe that I set this one to run to automatically engage a web form after 5 seconds. So let's click on this. 2, 3. Okay, now it's prompting me for an email. Okay, that is how you can use. Now, I clicked on cancel. I can control whether or not if someone clicks on, everyone's going to click on cancel, they don't want to work. I can control whether or not they can cancel it away and continue watching it, okay? Or I can say, you click on cancel, I'm just going to prompt you again, okay? And that way they've got to complete the form. You can also do it with PDFs, and PDFs you can control by time, or you can control by page. So let's say, oh, okay, this looks like it's worth reading. I'm gonna go through here, groovy. I get to the third page, boom. It's gonna prompt me with this, a form. So now I gotta fill this out, okay? If I try to click on cancel, it's not letting me get past it. So I know I've gotta complete this form, okay? I know that this may seem like it's clickbait, but what it is, it's really using your digital assets to attract people with this subject matter, okay, and have them sign up so that they're added into your database and identifying themselves as prospects. So this way you can actually produce marketable material that you can use to harvest additional contacts, okay? So that's Assets is a really, really powerful tool. In my opinion, literally by itself, enough reason to go up to complete, okay? Now, since we kind of fast forwarded to complete, I just want to remind everyone that complete contains everything we showed this in select, but it costs $199 a month, okay, and includes 50,000 sends. Now, we covered a fair bit about the automated workflow, creating notifications, follow-up activities, new opportunities based on how people engage with the content, as well as the web forms and surveys, okay? Now, lead management and scoring, okay? If you guys have done any kind of work with AMA, I'm just gonna go back to the content, you're going to be aware, okay, just look up. Okay, you're gonna be aware that there's an AMA score, okay? And this is a field that is automatically in your database. You can create additional ones, okay? But this allows you to kind of calculate on an ongoing aggregate basis the level of engagement that people have with all of your campaigns. And you can create dynamic groups based on the different thresholds that get calculated in here. Okay, so let's go back to this. Okay. Now I see I've got a couple of questions, so let me just check here. SMS is text messaging. Okay, text messaging is a available upgrade option. Okay, and I can't give you a fixed cost for that because it is different based on each region, whether or not you're in Canada, the United States, UK, so on and so forth. Are there any AMA feature differences between Windows and web versions? Very good question. AMA is literally 100% server-based. Okay, so everything that you're doing, you're working basically within a centralized web environment. So I don't know of any differences between the two, other than if you are in a web environment like Act Premium Cloud, a authorized hosting provider, then getting set up is a heck of a lot easier, okay, in a web environment because you tend to have all of that set up for you automatically, okay? But good question. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna talk about, let's go into the scoring. I'm just gonna go into admin. Okay, now by default, when you click on admin, and again, this is obviously only reserved for AMA admins, you are going to see the default scoring profile. Now, if you have this enabled and you have a complete tier, and you're going to us or to anyone else and saying, I'm not seeing anything calculate in my AMA total, in my AMA fields, then all you got to do is delete this, okay? Wait, and it will regenerate itself and it will create a new default scoring rule. And I did this recently and it repopulated everything, okay? So let's take a look at some of the examples. Okay, so score 2 on any campaign clicks, okay? Is it going to accumulate? No. Okay, I don't want it to accumulate every single time. Okay, any campaigns opened, score 1. I told you about the value difference between open and clicks. Any landing pages completed, okay, give that score a 4. Okay, and then any web pages visited, okay, then I'm going to go back 90 days and I'm going to say don't aggregate this either. So each one of these things is going to provide individual scores. I can go in and say, If I want to accumulate the scores, that means every single time they'll click on it, it will keep adding 2, okay? But this is really, really useful, okay, because you can create dynamic groups based on that field data. Now, as I said, there is an AMA score here by default. This field is automatic. If you want to create multiple profiles, okay, like Shannon's done here, you've got to create another user field, okay? Otherwise, you're going to be overwriting data. Okay, so I see another question here. Any tips for ensuring your emails do not get sent to junk? Yes, there is. I mean, we definitely recommend that you make sure that your DKIM is registered. There's a couple of other things you can do. I also recommend making sure that you register your domain. Okay, so it's not being sent by the ACK domain, the ACKSend.com. There's a number of different tips, and email me, ken@kqc.ca, and I'll send you some references for that. But that's a good question. It's a common question too. Okay, so now we've talked about the lead management scoring. We've talked about the profiles, and the next thing we've talked about asset tracking. So let's talk about website activity. Okay, the website activity, and for most people, you're not you're going to see web activity only if you have complete or higher. So what is web activity? Okay, web activity allows you to identify prospects on your website in real time, to engage with them when they're most interested. See who's been on your site today, yesterday, this week, whichever. Okay, so now we've got this enabled, and what you do is it generates a script. You've got to get your web developer to put it on your website. Okay, so it can provide that kind of tracking. Okay, and now I can go to a dashboard and I can get all these kind of statistics. Guys, I literally enabled this 1 week ago, okay? And I can see how many of the visitors came from Google, how many hit keystroke independently, how many came from Facebook, mobile Facebook, Bing, came directly to our payment page. That's interesting, okay? So on and so forth, okay? So I get really good visibility on all my lead sources. I can see the number of people that returned once, returned twice, came back multiple times just within this last week. Now, if I wanted to show you, you can also enable alerts. Let me just bring you over my inbox here. And these are the kind of email alerts that you can get set up. Okay, you can see people from Rogers Cable, so on and so forth. United States here. You can get all kinds of click-through reporting, durations, things like that, and this will get emailed. I've set this up. I've had like several hundred. I just create a folder so it doesn't clutter up my inbox, and then I can review this and see if there's any interesting sources. Obviously, a lot of local, but I can really identify some recognizable click-through sources based on what marketing I've got. Okay, referred from Facebook, the Netherlands. That's really interesting. Okay, so all kinds of insights that I can get with the website activity. Okay, in terms of referral sources, interactions per visit, website visitors, so on and so forth. Okay, and that's the kind of metrics that is available within the complete tier. Okay, let me see if there's any question. Thank you. Okay, so I don't see any other questions. So let's go into the AMA Advanced. Okay, so this is the absolute top tier, guys, and it costs $399 per month, and it provides 100,000 sends. Most of the people, honestly, are driven to the top tier based on the sends only, because if you're in the middle tier and you're paying for extra sends, you're going to find it more economical in many cases to go to the top tier instead. But there are 2 individual features that are only available in the top advanced tier, and let me show you what those look like. So I'm going to click on this. Okay, so these 2 tiers are called A/B testing and progressive profiling. Okay, progressive profiling initially started with a different name. It was called multi-stage lead profiling. I kind of like that they shortened it because the first one sounded pretty pretentious and meaningless. But let's talk about what A/B testing is. A/B testing is a way for you to have one campaign where you can use different templates and determine which work best. Okay, so let me just go into AMA webinar test here. Okay, I'm going to go into here. AMA, see here. Go to AMA test campaign here. Okay, AMA test campaign. Okay, so I've created this test campaign, and now I'm going to go to edit the email content. Okay, this looks like a very simple campaign, right? One step, instant send. What can be complicated about it? Okay, well, I am really kind of undecided as to which particular style and communication method is best for this campaign. So what I've done is I've clicked on action, and I've clicked on, this says disable, but it's now enable A/B testing. And what I've got is, even within this one template, I've got two different samples. Over here, you can see A version. If I want to flip over to the B version, I've got the exact same template, but with a little bit of a difference. I've changed the top graphic, and in the subject line, I've merged in the field salutation. So I'm really curious to see which template will work best. Okay, even on this really simple campaign, let's say it's really important. Let's say that my marketing manager is really bugging me, and I just want to shut him up and say, well, let's let the data speak. So what I can do is I can say, okay, we're going to set up one with your template, one with mine, and we're going to see which way it works. We're going to click on AB properties, and we're going to send either all emails at once, okay, or set a percentage, okay, and say send out 10%, and then we'll send out the rest once we determine which one is best. This is a real cool data-driven feature, okay, that you can do within the top tier. I absolutely love this feature, and it really allows you to make decisions based not so much on intuition, but on hard data. You can determine based on the click-through data which one is determined. They distribute these sends out indiscriminately, so there's no logic to it, so that the data that you get back, isn't going to be slanted one way or the other than based on the effectiveness of one template versus the other. Okay. I see a couple of questions. I don't use my email campaigns that often, but every time I do, you have to get Export to reconnect the service. I tried to open it. I get it. And what I'm going to suggest is, most of the time that this is an API issue, okay? And there's nothing that I can say to minimize the frustration with the API issue, and this is 99% of the time it's Act Connect Link. Act Connect Link is made like SQL by another company, okay? It's made by another company, and so we often take the hits based on the reliability of that. Keystroke has made what's called ACL Companion to make it a little bit more reliable. It recycles it on a daily basis, gives you some handy tools. Anyone that's interested can email me, ken@kqc.ca. I'll send you the link to it. There's nothing I can tell you about that's going to make that situation any better, other than this. I'm going to ask that each of you consider, if you're on a subscription and you are looking at your price going up to $450 for just the licensing, Act now offers Act Premium Cloud with desktop sync. So the exact same experience, but they manage the API, very, very robust API for $30 more. So basically you're getting a full hosted experience, okay, with really fast web-based access for $30 more a year. I think most of the people that we're encountering are finding that a really compelling value. We're going to send around the link tomorrow, okay, with the with the recording. Anyone that's registered this, if you'd like a quote on that, please indicate such and we'll provide that. Deb, you also indicated that you're a Growth Suite customer. Okay, so Growth Suite basically is a commercial bundling. It's ACT plus AMA. Okay, it is a grandfathered SKU, so there isn't anything you can update it on. The rule with Growth Suite is if you've got a single or double user account, leave it alone. It's a great value. If you've got 3, 4, 5 or more users, I think that you'll want to talk to us. We'll do the math for you. It might be more advantageous for you to blow up your contract and go with premium and AMA, because AMA is now an account-based charge and it's not a charge that hits every single user. Okay, you're a solo, don't touch it. Solo users with Growth Suite, take it to the grave. It is a fantastic package and you're not going to do any better. So glad you identified that. Take advantage of your grandfathered benefits and drive it into the ground. Okay. Okay, so the last feature is called progressive profiling. Okay, well, let me just set the stage. Progressive profiling is used in landing pages and surveys and is designed to gather information about a prospect over time rather than asking them a bunch of questions up front. Okay, so if I go to a, let's go to a landing page here. Okay, let's see if I've got, okay, so if I was to go here, insert action afterwards. Oh, this is already active. Okay. Okay, so what I can do, if I wanted to create a new one, I would create multiple forms. Okay, create action after, create multiple forms. It's active, so it's not allowing me to edit it, which makes sense. Okay, I can create multiple forms, and then what I can do, okay, is if this was a new, see, I've got these forms here. I can say on the very first form, ask basic contact information. Okay, and then there's a checkbox here that if I was editing it, it would say check for progressive profiling. Okay, and then what I would do is I would add a next form, okay, that would say, what interests you about ACT? Is it AMA? Is it regular contact management? Whatever. I can ask any number of questions and I can spread them across 4 or 5 forms, so I'm not whacking someone with 10, 15 questions up front, and I'm gathering a profile over time. So each time that person goes back to that form, they will then get the next page, okay? And that's called progressive profiling. Previously multi-stage profiling, and it really allows you to build more richer details on the contacts without them being forced to go through a long list of contacts or of fields up front or questions up front that might, let's be honest, probably scare them away, in which case you go from asking for a lot of data to getting 0. Okay, so this is a slightly, well, a lot more intelligent way of spreading the questions over a period of time, and the more they come back, okay, obviously that's leading to helping you identify them as higher engagement, and you're not then punishing them with the same questions over and over again. Okay, that is it for the feature comparison. So we have covered the changes to select, okay, which are decisions and list sync. We've covered the overlapping features between basic and select, the overlapping features between select and complete, okay, the unique features of complete, and the 2 unique features of advanced, okay. I want to again draw your attention to the blog that I wrote, okay, understanding the differences, okay. I think if you do, and you take a look at this price sheet, okay, you're going to understand that all the prices that I quoted you, which is either basic up to 10,000 cents for $45 a month, or $79 for select at 25,000 cents. Like, take a look at this, 25,000 cents, $351, okay, compared to $79 for select, okay. You go up to your distribution of 50,000, okay, 533, versus complete for $199. So the value of this, setting aside all the extra automation, CRM integration that you get, this is an extremely strong value. But we're going to make it even stronger. Okay. Right now, as you can see here, let me just. Okay, from this blog, you can see not only did they improve the feature offering with Select, they're offering 25% off of anyone that wants to upgrade. Okay, so just kind of identifying yourself here. If you're on any of the paid tiers, this is a great time to take advantage of the next step up. Okay, for 25% off. Now, if you've got 6 months left of your contract, and say your renewal is in August, then you're only going to pay a prorated difference between now and August. So that's why we're going to send around that form that allows you to ask us for a quote request, because that's where we want to provide you the exact math on that. Okay, so if you're basic and you want to find out how much it's going to cost to go up by adding additional sends, or you want to go from basic to select to complete, now is the perfect time to take that Pepsi challenge, because you've got that. Now you understand all the features in each and every single tier, not just more. You understand the qualitative difference, not just the quantitative difference. And we want to provide you the opportunity and other savings for you guys to take that test. And then what we're hoping is that you take that, you use it for 3, 6, 12 months, whatever, and you're going to have a strong foundation to make a renewal decision on. Maybe you want to go back to your previous tier. Maybe you've gotten really, really used to the features that I've just demonstrated to you today, and you're not going to want to give them up, and you'll renew at that new tier for you. Okay. So tomorrow, thank you very much. Tomorrow, I'll send around the recording with the web form that we discussed. And please, if you're interested in getting quotes, let us know. Otherwise, please pass around to anyone within your office that you think might be interested in this material. I said we were going to be between 60 and 75 minutes. We are exactly at the 72-minute mark, so I don't want to push my luck. So I want to thank all of you guys for joining me today. I hope it was of value, and make it a great day. Take care.